The Federal and Pedesta Hospital jointly present the Kanyakumari Marathon 2025. This event is co-presented by Rojavanam International School and Kingmakers IAS Academy. Run for Health on Sunday, May 4, 2025. Entry is free and all are welcome.
Hello and welcome to The Federal. You're watching Off the Beaten Track, a program in which we try to look at various issues in as many layers as we can. It is often said about Indian politics that there is never a dull day, especially now. You have had the very tragic incident in Pahalgam, where 26 or maybe even more Indians have been killed by terrorists. Obviously, there is going to be a political as well as a security response to that. The Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has already declared a virtual war. Pakistan has also said that by keeping the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, it's a virtual declaration of war. This is the immediate context. There is a backdrop also. The backdrop is that there were the Lok Sabha elections last year, which actually gave, for the first time, a BJP not a majority in the last 10 years. 2014, they got a majority, 2019, but last year they were down to 240. So it is actually a coalition government which was formed when Mr. Modi took oath. He was actually taking oath at the head of an actual coalition government. What did the result reveal? Why was the result that kind of a result? What has happened thereafter? Where exactly is Indian politics going? They're fairly wide issues. Who do I look to but my old friend and colleague Ashutosh, a fellow journalist for several decades? The primary reason, as to why I am talking to Ashutosh on this wide gamut of issues is that I need to congratulate him for this wonderful book.
Thank you.
Reclaiming Bharat, what changed in 2024 and what lies ahead. Congratulations, Ashutosh, and welcome to this program. It's really
Thank you, Dada. Thank you, Dada. Thank you.
Obviously, we cannot talk about Indian politics today without talking about what happened in Pahalgam and the likely response. Mr. Modi has already given whenever it happens. It might happen before the viewers see this program. It might happen afterwards. It might happen even as they are watching this program at some point or the other. Your first assessment that how does this incident and India's response, whatever it will be, how is it going to change the political narrative of the country?
Thank you, Dada, for inviting me for this talk, this lovely talk. In my opinion, though the BJP would like to exploit this Pahalgam incident for uniting Hindus, and they would like to create a narrative that look how this jihadi terrorists they are targeting Hindus and their slogan of Hindu Khatre Mein. Kind of a thing. But in my opinion, that this basically will hurt BJP for two reasons. One, this will hurt BJP because Hindus were targeted in Indian territory itself. So what happened to that macho state? The image which the Modi and Amit Shah had tried to build in the RSS also since 2014 that India will be safer, Hindus will be safe if Modi is there with 56-inch Sina. And despite they being in government for almost 11 years, if the Hindus are targeted and they are killed by asking their names and their religion, so it's in my opinion, this is going to hurt them. And secondly, this is also a very tricky situation because after abrogating Article 370, it was proclaimed from the rooftop that terrorism will end and the Kashmir will be heaven and anybody can go and buy a land. And despite a representative government led by Omar Farooq and entire security paraphernalia supervised by Amit Shah himself, if something like this happened, that what happened to that bold statements given at that point of time, I think the people will ask these questions. And this is also a very, I will not say a very positive thing has happened, but this has to be taken under consideration that the way Kashmiris have responded. Yes, a few terrorists came, they killed people by asking their name and religion. That is the truth. Nobody can deny that. But the way the Kashmiri has responded, entire Kashmir has risen in rays. And I can tell you, Dada, I was there in Pahalgam, almost at the same place on the Sunday. That is 48 hours before this incident had happened. And I could see people were very happy. Tourists were happy. Kashmiris were happy. Everybody was flourishing because of the tourism. Everybody was getting employment, money. So everybody was enjoying those moments. But the way Kashmiris has responded after this incident, I think this is the very, very encouraging thing for us. And those people who are trying to communalize the whole incident, they are trying to turn into the Hindu-Muslim things. I think they are going to get a hit this time. This is a Kashmir which is, in my opinion, is very, very different Kashmir. I have been going to Kashmir since 1991. I have never seen after any terrorist incident or any killing, the eruption of such collective anger. I have never seen something like this.
While that is very good, there is also something that I must draw your attention to. You know, in the last almost 4 decades of the Hindutva campaign, essentially on the shoulders of the Ram Janmabhoomi movement for the Ram Temple, Pakistan and Indian Muslims have almost been projected as synonymous terms. It is presumed that everybody who has an Islamic name or a Muslim name has to be a sympathizer of Pakistan. Just yesterday, I was speaking to a friend, same word story. But you know, when my friend was in college, talking about some other friend who was in some other college, whenever there was an India-Pakistan cricket match, if Pakistan won, the Muslims used to cheer. I said, did you hear this? No, nobody has directly heard. The brother has heard, the sister has heard, the friend has heard. So there is this entire, echo chamber, which actually echoes it, that Muslims are with Pakistan. Already you have had a Hindu organization in Dehradun telling Kashmiris who are studying in various institutions there, including a university, to leave this place. So I'm more worried that this situation can be used to physically target anybody who looks a Muslim.
See, that possibility cannot be ruled out, unfortunately. That's a very unfortunate part of the entire incident. And in fact, a few Muslims have been targeted. There are very stray incidents. But I think that is what the Pakistan wants through this terrorism. If you remember, on 14th of April, if my memory helps me, the army chief of Pakistan, Munir, has talked about the two-nation theory. He said that Hindus and the Muslims, they are the two different nations. They have the two different attires and everything, and they cannot be together. And what was puzzling me, that whether this was a stray statement made by the army chief, or whether the government of Pakistan also believes into this. After government of India's response to the Pahalgam, and when they decided to suspend the Sindhu Water Treaty, Pakistan has given a very large statement, and at the end of the statement, the government of Pakistan concludes and says that the response of government of India resonates what Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah has talked about, two-nation theory, the resolution which the Muslim League passed in 1940. Now, look at the statements and link those statements. Army chiefs, Pakistan's talked about two-nation theory. At least I had never heard something like this from the Pakistan in my 3 decades of the political career, of a journalistic career. Two-nation theory is the fundamental reason for the creation of Pakistan. Jia believed in that on the basis of Islam they should get a state of their own, because they can't live with the Hindus, because they are the two different nations. But overtly Pakistan army chief saying something like this, then terrorists descending into the Pahalgam, asking names, identifying Hindus and killing them. This has never happened in Kashmir. This has never happened in Kashmir. And then government of Pakistan again refers to the two-nation theory. And they are also talking about the Waqf board and all kinds of things. That means there is a dangerous design, and this design is to tell Muslims of this country, Muslims of India, that you and Hindus cannot live together. You are two different nations. They are trying to provoke Indian Muslims. That is why the government of India's response should be cold-blooded and calibrated, but they should also be sensitive that while responding to the Pakistan, are they being trapped or not? Because if Pakistan's rhetoric has come to this level, that means this time they have a different design altogether.
True. I think, the best is, that let us hope that this does not, escalate into widespread civil unrest within the country, communal unrest everywhere in different places. I also hope that the BJP and the government, would be actually very responsible and, immediately quell any effort from within its rank, within the BJP, part of the greater ecosystem of the Sangh Parivar, the entire Hindu majoritarian brigade, which exists in different forms, in different organizations. All those are told to calm down and absolutely keep quiet and not attack Muslims anyway. Now, going back to your book, because ultimately politics is something which is actually going to emerge, a different kind or the same kind of politics is going to emerge from it. At the very outset, you tried to explain the 2024 mandate as being not very clear. Something ambiguity was there in your mind as far as the 2024 elections was concerned. And you also say, I found it a very striking phrase. You say that it was actually a vote of no confidence against the entire political class. I couldn't understand the reasons as to why you say that it was a vote against everyone. No confidence motion against the entire political class. I would want to listen for.
I think it's a very interesting question, and what I understood the 2024 parliament election in the context of the verdicts which the people have given to BJP in 2014 and 2019. Both the times, in 2014, when nobody had expected that the BJP could get majority, but the people were decisive in their mandate, and they were decisive in terms of rejecting the Congress party, and they were decisive in terms of giving mandate to Narendra Modi and the BJP. And the BJP, which had never dreamt and never thought that they could get majority, they got majority. So that means people at that point of time had a clear-cut mandate in the mind. In 2019, again, the BJP improves its tally from 282 to 303. That was again a decisive mandate. But if you go into 2024, there's no decisive mandate. The people of the country realize that BJP doesn't deserve to get a majority, that is 272 seats. And thanks to 20 seats in Odisha, otherwise the BJP would have been reduced to somewhere around 210 or 220. And then the people also thought that the opposition also do not deserve to be in the government. So they also didn't get more than 230 seats. And the Congress improves its seat number, but again it gets reduced to the 99. Now, in my opinion, if there is no decisive mandate, that means people had neither faith in the BJP, nor in the Congress, nor in the NDA, nor in the India. They were basically looking for an alternative, and the alternative was not there. And that is why this verdict is, in my opinion, is basically it's people's verdict that neither you nor that.
It could also mean, that the people felt after 10 years of majority rule that it is not good in terms of policies for the people that one single party has the majority, which may not be actually the majority in popular electoral terms, but if they have a parliamentary majority, then they can would like to. This brings me to the second question. That after the verdict on the 4th of June, almost everybody, I remember, you and I also talking after that and various other people, everyone concluded that this time Mr. Modi will have to be more consultative. The big question was that he has never been consultative. It is not there in his persona, it is not his instinct. So would he be able to do it? 1 year, almost a year later, I see that the allies have possibly not done or not created the kind of pressure or demand for consultation as was expected last year. Would you also there? It is also the same. There is, after all, no common minimum program here. There is no convener. There is no coordination committee. The NDA exists only in the words of the various leaders. There is actually no collective deliberation of the NDA at any level within the government and outside of this. How has this happened? What mistake has the allies done? Or actually, they are very comfortable just being part of the government.
I think these are very interesting questions because even in the book I mentioned that if anybody is expecting that Mr. Narendra Modi will change his style of working, I had my serious doubts because the tiger, even if it's weak, doesn't change his stripes. And Narendra Modi is a very strong personality. He's not like any other leader. He's a once in a generation leader. He's a very strong personality. He always believes into the my way and the highway. He doesn't believe in consultation. Look at what had happened after the Pahalgam. Even since Nehru's days, every prime minister after coming from the foreign trip has gone and briefed the president. After such a big crisis, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi doesn't go to brief the president. He sends his
speech in Bihar.
Yeah, he was in Bihar. He holds the government holds a all party meeting. Traditionally, conventionally, the Prime Minister should be there and briefing the opposition and take the whole country in confidence through the political party. He is not there. So he is a different person altogether. So anybody who was thinking that the Modi will change, I had my serious doubts about it. Look, what has happened is that since BJP doesn't have the 272 numbers, so obviously there are certain compulsions. But let's not forget it. The levers of power are still with Narendra Modi. He still controls ED, he still controls CBI, he still controls entire government apparatus. And that makes his job much easier, because he can still control opposition and the coalition partners through these agencies. And that is what has exactly happened. I think just after the elections, Mr. Modi was not a very confident person. Till this date, Modi is elected as a leader of the House, not through the BJP, because the BJP parliamentary party never met. It was an NDA meet. So why he was hesitant to hold a BJP parliamentary party to get elected as the leader of the party and then get elected as the leader of the India? I think that was the weakest moment. And then he also faced the barrage of attack which Mohan Bhagwat has unleashed. I will say that Mr. Narendra Modi has weakened. There's no doubt about it. He's shaken that despite such a phenomenal popularity, his margin of victory is only 1.5, and that too thanks to Amit Shah's stationing over there. So he's shaken, but he has not completely changed. So to expect at that point of time that he will change and he will start consultation, I think it was something which I had never thought about. I did not imagine in those sense. Yes, he's weak, but yes, Narendra Modi is Narendra Modi, and who knows better than you? You have written his biography, so you know better than me.
Well, he's always actually, reveled in such kind of, being in a corner. I have said on numerous occasions that Narendra Modi would not have become Narendra Modi had the Godhra carnage not taken place. It actually provided him with a window to emerge as what was then promoted as the emperor of Hindu hearts, Hindu Hriday Samrat. That is what he projected himself. So this opportunity, Pahalgam, what I'm looking at, that we have also to be aware of the fact that this could also be another opportunity which Mr. Modi must use to be able to once again reinvent himself. Maybe not Hindu Hriday Samrat, maybe something slightly bigger, because the kind of call that he is given is actually, so that is something that we have to be, keep our eyes on. You referred to these very critical and very sharp, I would say even bordering on hostile statements made by Mohan Bhagwat after the June 4th results. We also know that the RSS was not very much present in the campaign during the Lok Sabha period for a variety of reasons, but most importantly, they said openly, in whispers, it was heard that if it is Modi's guarantee, let him go and win the elections. The personalization of Modi and the promotion of the Modi cult was something that was very much disapproved by the RSS. People will say that he's always done it that way, right from the time that he's been there in Gujarat. RSS was never consulted on matters of governance when he was chief minister. The same thing from 2014 onward. But as they say, there is that phrase in Hindi, कि पानी कब सिर के ऊपर चला गया पता नहीं. So the RSS possibly felt that enough is enough. Something possibly happened. Maybe the Nadda statement, which he said that we do not need the BJP, the RSS anymore. So that happened. Now, coming to RSS, there has been some kind of a rapprochement. There was also an understanding that the next BJP president, which mind you, has got delayed beyond imagination. Nadda today has the longest serving single term tenure. It has never happened like that, for somebody for being the party president for so long. Do you think all this rapprochement now is again going to, because of Pahalgam, going to again start favoring Mr. Modi, that the next president is not getting chosen because this is not the appropriate time? Security response to Pakistan is more important. Pakistan or whoever the government says that are the perpetrators of all this.
Dada, I thought about this, about the name of the book, Reclaiming Bharat. Why we decided that we should name this book as a Reclaiming Bharat? I think the question which you have asked, the appointment of the next party president of the BJP is very much related to this, for the simple reason because RSS, which has conceded lot of space to the Narendra Modi and BJP in the last 10 years, now they are out to reclaim that space for himself. It is because of this that RSS wants to reclaim the ground which has conceded to Modi and Amit Shah, and this time they have put their foot down that either this way or that way. We are not going to succumb. We don't want to have a BJP president like JP Nadda who could hold a press conference during the and who could have the audacity to say that we are saksham. Hum saksham ho gaye, ek tarike se hinting at the RSS that we don't need them. They want a very strong RSS person to lead BJP, because what they have realized is that because of the personalized politics of Narendra Modi, BJP has expanded, RSS has expanded, Hindutva has expanded, but organizationally it is getting weaker. And second point, which they have also realized, that if Modi continues the way he is continuing, this will not help BJP beyond a point. This will not help Hindutva project beyond a point. And that is why I has written in my book, in my chapter epilogue, that in their understanding, Modi and the BJP can be driven by their ambition to form government. RSS is under no such compulsion. For them, politics is secondary. Of primary import is reclaiming the past glory of Hindus, which cannot be gained if Hindutva and Hindus per se turn into a cuss word, which is identified with violence, intolerance and hate, and that will be the civilizational suicide for RSS. So, RSS, through the party president, is giving a clear message to the Modi: you want to run the government, you run the government. We will not interfere in your affairs, in the affairs of the government. But the party and organization will be run by us, and the way we want to run this. I think that's why BJP has failed to get a new party president, and it is partly, I'll say that for the first time in the last 10 years, Mr. Modi has conceded lot of space to Mohan Bhagwat, because him going to Nagpur, meeting Mohan Bhagwat itself is a big climb down. It's a big climb down. And till now, BJP has not been able to nominate a party president. Again, speaks volume that RSS and Modi, they want a truce, but in what terms, it's still that is not finalized.
Getting back to another aspect of your book, there's something, there was a very strange Synergy, I'll actually refer to what you said about Varanasi and the fact that Mr. Modi's victory margin had come down very dramatically. You have an entire chapter, where you actually write that Priyanka Gandhi should have possibly contested from Varanasi. I found it, that actually, I had written an article on the 7th of May for the Rediff, where I said, that the editor had given the headline that Priyanka must take on Modi in Varanasi. Reading through the entire campaign, how it had happened, the way the government actually denied the nomination of Sham Rangila, who was no one but just a mimic. It actually said that the kings fear most people who can laugh at their face. Now, when a king realizes that, that is possibly the time. So, do you think it was a case of lost opportunity for Priyanka Gandhi?
In hindsight, one can say that, and I think probably Rahul Gandhi was also referring with a regret that instead of Ajay Rai, if Priyanka Gandhi had contested, maybe the situation could have been different. See, in the hindsight, one can always say that, but I think Modi being the Prime Minister and Amit Shah being the Home Minister are a defeat like that, if within quote, wasn't possible in my opinion, because
Maybe not defeat, but even a good challenge would have completely, it would have actually rooted Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah in Varanasi.
Nilanjan, one thing, what has shaken Narendra Modi, in my opinion, what has shaken him, that the man who thought he's invincible, he's the most popular prime minister since Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, when he was humbled in Banaras. Let's not forget it. Their party was planning to a 10 lakh victory margin. It was reduced to 1.5. But 1.5 when Ajay Rai was contesting. Now a very serious candidate. And let's also not forget that in the last 2 days, Amit Shah was stationed in Banaras. And there were other cabinet ministers. My point is why Amit Shah was needed to be stationed in Banaras. So this victory margin 1.5, is there any trick into that? Let's also try to understand that. So and don't forget it, till 12 p.m. no TV channel had given the news that Mr. Narendra Modi is trailing in Banaras. No TV, which was the biggest news of the day. Nobody had predicted that. So I think that this Banaras election had shaken the confidence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and today, if he looks little worried, a little tense, because he realizes that he's no more phenomenally popular as he used to be, and it is not a coincidence, it is not an accident of history that long back, I think just after the Karnataka election, the RSS magazine has written कि नरेंद्र मोदी के नाम पे अब चुनाव नहीं जीता जा सकता, something like that. So Narendra Modi, who had always lived after becoming the Chief Minister of Gujarat with phenomenal popularity, with almost no challenge, if he is feeling the heat and he realizes that he can also lose his own election, I think that has shaken him. But again, it's a very hypothetical question. If Priyanka had contested, that Rahul has contested, then things could have been different. But that's a part of the history. Now nobody knows what would have exactly happened.
What would have actually happened. There is one issue which has been talked about considerably over the last few years, and especially in the during the elections, is the way various institutions in the country have been hollowed out. Most importantly, the Election Commission. During campaigning, it was constantly being pointed out that when opposition leaders say something which is actually wrong, there is immediately a notice, immediately a caution which is issued, but never whenever there is a leader of the BJP, either the Prime Minister or any of the other top leaders of the party. After the Lok Sabha election, there have been several occasions where even a person no less than Rahul Gandhi, who has said, talked about discrepancy in the electoral process, actually pointed out about why were there excessively large number of voters in the assembly elections which happened immediately after the Lok Sabha elections, especially in Maharashtra, Haryana, Why was it so? So there is this allegation that possibly the Election Commission of India has to do a lot of explanation which is not being done. In a situation like that, do you think that Indian elections are as free and fair as what used to be prior to 2014? If not, then what can be done?
I think it will be very difficult for me to say a problematic. It's very problematic for me to say that Indian elections are no longer free and fair elections. Let's believe it that these elections are free and fair elections. But there are serious question mark about the credibility of the election and the credibility of the institution called Election Commission. They are very, very serious question mark. And this 2024 parliamentary election categorically underlines the fact in my memory since I became a journalist and became aware of the Indian political system and election, I had never seen a campaign so communal. And Election Commission was just sleeping. And I can tell you from my experience, because I had an experience of covering Election Commission when T.N. Session was the Chief Election Commissioner. And the one man single-handedly changed Election Commission, made it a very independent, an institution of integrity, and he changed the color of the whole electoral process. But here was Election Commission, which could see the brazen communalization, the votes being asked in the name of religion. Another religion was discredited. That's a statement like this the Prime Minister himself has made, that these are the Muslims are infiltrators. आपके मंगलसूत्र को छीन लेंगे, आपकी बैल, आपके गाय, आपको भैंस आपके यहाँ से छीन ले जाएंगे. I remember Amit Shah and Yogi Adityanath hinting at that if the India Gathbandhan comes to the power, then there will be Sharia law in this country. There will be Sharia Qanun in this country. This was also said that ये अगर इंडिया वाले आएंगे तो राम मंदिर को demolish कर देंगे. Something like this. I had never heard something like this. Election Commission was sleeping all through. So that means either the Election Commission had no guts, no spine to stand up with the government of the day, or they were complicit in the entire conspiracy, in the entire exercise. Either way, they cannot be absolved. And then, after the first phase of election and the second phase of elections, after 10 days of the first phase election, you are coming out with the percentage of polls, almost increase of 6 to 7%. I had covered Election Commission. I know when the ballot papers were there, that at the 5:30 a press conference used to happen. The Deputy Election Commissioner used to come up and give the figure that this is the percentage of votes. This is the tentative one. I think by 10 in the morning next day, you will have a complete figure. And we used to get a complete figure. That figure never changed. So if that was possible during the ballot paper era, today everything is available at the click of a button. The technology has become so advanced. You are updating the vote percentage after 10 days, and there's an increase of 6%. And there's no logical explanation. The same thing happened with the second phase polling also. After 4 days, the numbers were again updated. Now, if these things are happening, and in the Maharashtra election, the Congress is saying that during the assembly election to the parliament election, there was an increase of almost 40 lakh new votes. So these are the issues which raises a very serious question in our mind, whether these elections are being manipulated and whether Election Commission is part of that. I'm not accusing anybody, but these are the questions, and Election Commission has never come out with giving a very logical explanation. Look at Haryana election, look at the Maharashtra election. These were the two elections everybody thought, every journalist I met on this earth was so sure that the opposition will win, and they lost badly. And that's why, and when the Congress party has gone to the Election Commission and had gave them a hearing and gave certain and asked explanation, Election Commission never came out with any explanation. Their responses to the questions were an accusation of such nature that the leader of stature of party president Mallikarjun Kharge had to think. And he considered that whether they should go to the High Court or the Supreme Court to get the observations made by Election Commission removed. So when Election Commission plays such a partisan role for the government and becomes so, and it's of no help to the opposition, then where is the level playing field? That is why I'm not saying that these elections were not free and fair election. In my opinion, they should be, and they might be fair and free and fair, but there are serious question mark. And And these questions are extremely serious because this is directly related to the efficacy and efficiency of the elections, of the democracy in this country. If the people start getting some sense that elections are being manipulated, then the whole trust in the democracy will go. That's why it's a very serious question. That's why I have given one full chapter talking about the election commission's role in my book.
That's right. You have actually spent quite a bit of time and the pages in terms of dealing with the election commission. We've all seen the decline of the institution in the last 10 years. We've actually seen that. There's another point which you devote considerable space in your book is the use of state machinery. You in our conversation also previously you talked about. We had this series of accusations, investigations launched against various opposition leaders. Two chief ministers of this country, Arvind Kejriwal and Hemant Soren, were arrested and were in jail during a fairly large period of the campaign. State power has always, of course, to a certain extent, it was able to help the BJP to a great extent. But related to this is that after that, elections took place both in Jharkhand as well as in Delhi. In Jharkhand, the BJP was not able to win despite trying to communalize the entire election, saying that the number of people from Bangladesh has increased tremendously, that the tribal culture is being eroded. All that was said, but it did not help the BJP at all, and the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha came back very triumphantly. That happened. But in Delhi, which was actually said to be a fairly strong Aam Aadmi Party, stronghold, there was a major shift in the political mandate. How do you explain that, and what do you assess is the future of the Aam Aadmi Party as a political phenomenon? You at one point were part of that. I'm asking you that because at one point, Aam Aadmi Party represented the hope for an alternative politics. To what extent has that been?
Nilanjan, before answering that question, I'll seek your permission to answer the first part of it, where you referred that how the two chief ministers were arrested just before the elections, right, and how this is something which is bizarre in my opinion. See, as I discussed in my first book, Hindu Rashtra, and this I considered it as a sequel to that book, I was trying to understand the phenomenon called RSS and Hindutva. And what I had come to the conclusion, I have 5 postulates. One is that this is basically a march of an ideological state. The transfer of power from Manmohan Singh to Narendra Modi in 2014 was not an ordinary transfer of power. It is something I believe is akin to, it is something which I believe is akin to 15 August 1947 when the power transferred from Britishers to the Indian. I relate to that. Then the nature of the state has also changed in 2014 onwards. And I personally believe, and I think many people will disagree with me, that this is a right-wing revolution which I see. And the last, and which basically summarizes why the government is behaving this way, is that state since 2014 is in a constant state of war. Why I'm saying the state is continuously in a constant state of war? Because if you look at Mohan Bhagwat's statement, he says that Hindus are at war with the Muslims for the last 1200 years. And they cannot afford to lose this war. Come what may, they have to win. This is what he said in 2023 in Ahmedabad. So, the incidents which we see, like attack on the Muslims, triple talaq, Waqf bill, mob lynching, all this is basically this is basically a waging a war against a particular community. And in an ideological state, everybody has to be partnered to achieve or construct the utopia called Hindu Rashtra. Anybody and everybody who will not participate in that will be chucked out, will be seen as enemy, and will be annihilated. That's what the nature of ideological state is. I'm not saying that India has completely become an ideological state. That's why I'm using the phrase march of an ideological state. Within that framework, if you look at how Arvind Kejriwal was arrested just before the parliament elections, Hemant Soren was arrested 3-4 months before the elections, brazenly, the way enforcement directorate ED is used, the police is used, everybody is used. These agencies are working for an ideological state so that the agenda of the Hindutva should continue, and whatever they want, and they should help us in creating a Hindu unity and a Hindu project. See, this is my framework. Within that framework, I have written this book. And if you see how the Arvind Kejriwal was defeated in Delhi elections, much before the elections, Arvind Kejriwal was told in as many words, come what may, we will not let you win. This I am giving you the information I have. They were told in as many words that we will not let you win. That does not mean the election was totally a farcical election. Arvind Kejriwal and his team is also to be blamed for that, because Arvind Kejriwal, people were voting for Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party because they were seen to be different from the rest. They were seen to be a moral force. Their entire capital was a moral capital. Once you are seen losing that moral capital, like tomorrow if the BJP seems to be losing the Hindutva, then obviously people will have different opinion and their hardcore supporter will desert them. Exactly that was happening with Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party did not stay right. I think Delhi election is a warning signal for the Aam Aadmi Party, and if they fail to retain Punjab, then I don't see any future for Aam Aadmi Party ever, because they do not have structures, they don't have resources as of now, they don't have cadre, and they have totally given up on their on the moral capital. If this, and they started behaving like any other political party. So if you start behaving like any other political party, then there are enough political parties in this country who should be preferred by the voters, and that's what has happened.
Well, similar kind of questions, will actually loom in front of other opposition parties also. You actually, talked about it very well, when you were talking about the right-wing revolution and, the state being in a constant, state of war always, at every point of time. We are at a very critical juncture, I know that you and I, we can keep on talking about the future and also the past, for much longer. But I would like to take a pause here, because I would like to come back in time, deliberate over what we have talked. Let the viewers also deliberate. We have to see that what happens, what kind of hostility do Muslims face? They are already facing a certain level of hostility. Is this going to grow beyond this? It's something that has to be seen post Pahalgam. That is something which we have to see. We have to see that how the opposition regroups itself. The India platform came up with a considerable amount of hope. We have not seen it really functioning as a alternative opposition platform, at least within Parliament. There has been some discussion, but as far as mass actions are concerned, it has not happened. So there is, of course, UP elections are coming up in 2027. We do not know if it is going to vote the way it voted during the Lok Sabha elections, which actually gave the Samajwadi Party 37 seats. Are really stunning. That is what actually possibly led to the BJP losing its majority. So thank you very much, Ashutosh. It's really been a very wide-ranging, multi-layered conversation, the kind I always like to have. Lots left, but yes, we will come back and then talk about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Da. Or I hope that the people buys the book and reads, so that they have a different perspective.
Please, this is something for the audience. Please read this book. It is available online at good bookstores. It's a wonderful book, and it's what I call one of those books which I will say the unput down. Once
thank you.
You cannot put it down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Da.
The Federal and Pedesta Hospital jointly present the Kanyakumari Marathon 2025. This event is co-presented by Rojavanam International School and Kingmakers IAS Academy. Run for Health on Sunday, May 4, 2025. Entry is free and all are welcome.